بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. In today's talk number 19 regarding the reflections on some of the verses from the ayat from Surah Al-Ankabut. Inshallah, we'll talk about the first couple of ayat. And these ayat are very important for, in general, for all the Muslimin to understand and comprehend and ponder upon these verses. It has great consequences. In this surah, Surah Al-Ankabut, the beginning of the verse, beginning of the surah, Allah Azza wa Jal says, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ألف لام ميم أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون ولقد فتنا الذين من قبلهم فليعلمن الله الذين صدقوا وليعلمن الكاذبين أم حسب الذين يعملون سيئات أن يسبقون ساء ما يحكمون. صدق الله العظيم. These verses of Surah Al-Ankabut, Allah Azza wa Jal says in the meaning of the Quran, these verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Alif Lam Mim, do not think that they will be left alone because they say we believe and will not be tested. And we indeed test those who were before them, and so that Allah will indeed know those who are true, and He will know who are the liars. Or think those who do evil deeds that they can outstrip or get away from outstrip us evil, is that which they judge. In these verses, as the Mufassirin talk about that, these verses are in general referred to, even though they were Makki ayat, and some of the Mufassirin they refer to them as Madani, but in this case, these are very general verses and that apply to all of us in general. Here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding the believers that they do not be thinking this way, that just saying that we believe is enough and they will not be tested. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests the mankind to really distinguish who is really the truthful one and who is the liar. And when it comes to these kind of tests or these kind of tribulations, whether it's called the fitna or the bala, one of the hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sheds proper light on the subject when it says, "Ashaddu nasi bala al-anbiya." Actually, Rasulullah was asked that who is the one who's tested the most difficult. Rasulullah said, "Ashaddu nasi bala al-anbiya, thumma salihun, thumma al-amthalu fal-amthal. يبتلى الرجل على حسب دينه فإن كان في دينه صلابة زيد له في البلاء." The hadith says the people who most severely tested are the prophets, and then the righteous one, then the next best, and then the next best. A man will be tested in accordance with the degree of his connection to the deen, his commitment, and strongest his commitment with the deen, the stronger the test is. And the other hadith of the similar like talks about that until the man walks on the earth, that he has no sin on him. Meaning, talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala test the believers in a manner that to see where he's at when it comes to his deen. And when he goes through hardship and he does the sabr, he persevere in the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala washes away his shortcomings for any kind of a hardship that he goes through, and even to the point that even if a prick of a thorn, he's pricked by the thorn, even that washes away his sins as well. Similarly, Allah Azza wa Jal talks about the same subject, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Am hasibtum an tadkhulul jannata ولما يأتكم مثل الذين خلوا من قبلكم مستهم البأساء والضراء وزلزلوا حتى يقول الرسول والذين آمنوا معه متى نصر الله ألا إن نصر الله قريب. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here that do you think that you will enter into paradise, into Jannah, while you have not been tested? Like the people who were tested in the past, they were touched by, they were afflicted by severe poverty and ailments, and to the point they were shaken. And that says that وَزُلْزِلُوا حَتَّى يَقُولُ الرَّسُولُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ. Even the prophet who was with them and the believers along with the prophets, they said, where is the victory? Where is the support from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And the response is yes, أَلَا إِنَّ نَصْرَ اللَّهِ الْقَرِيبِ. Yes, certainly the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is near. The purpose of these kind of tests from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that to basically to show that who is very truthful in his deen and who is just being from outwardly he's showing that he believes. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as says وَلَقَدْ فَتَّنَّ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that indeed that we tested those before you, and we will test you to see who is the one who's truthful and who is the liar. It has been said that okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware of all of us, that he's aware of the past and the present and the future. So what does it mean by that فَلَا يَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ, that Allah will know, meaning by testing, by these the fitan or bala? What does it mean by that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will know who's the truthful and who's the liar? What it means by that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us these traits of doing good or traits of doing bad, meaning Allah has given us both the skill, the sata Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given, the choice Allah has given us to do the good or bad. Now, to judge in a just manner, a person has to be tested, a person has to do the act. Allah is aware, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all-knowing. But here, it is more of to show to himself also, to other people also themselves, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala show them, prove them that okay, the reason they will be judged, meaning the reason they are punished or rewarded, is because of their actions, the way they behaved in those circumstances. So when we go through these difficult times or tests, we have to understand that this is a way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is distinguishing between the ones who are truthful to the deen and the one who are not truthful or who are liars. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also talks about أَمَّا حَسِبَ الَّذِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ السَّيِّئَاتِ أَن يَسْبِقُونَ سَاءَ مَا يَحْكُمُونَ. And I think those of who do evil deeds, they can outstrip us evil is that which they judge, meaning they think that they can just do whatever they are doing and they can get away with it. Talking about the people who are doing the shar, doing the sayyat, doing the sins, doing the things against the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not only talking about the believers will be tested whether they are truthful, but at the same time, the ones who are doing the sayyat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about that they will be also, they cannot just get away with what they have been doing. Now, here, the main idea to take away from today's this reflection on these verses is that we, as Muslim, as believers, should remember that there will be difficulties in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just because the difficulties come in our way does not mean that that we are not doing the right thing. If that would have been the case, then we would not see that all the prophets, including Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, would have they had to go through all the difficult things that they went through. As a matter of fact, the hadith says that the Anbiya and the prophets, they were tested the most severe, meaning their tests were way more difficult than the way we are tested. So when we come across the hardships or difficulties, we have to remember that this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what it means by that is no matter how tough the situation is, we have to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us. That's what the test means, that how do we stick with what Allah has commanded or not. So just because there are difficulties in the way or the task seems to be difficult, that we should not be thinking of this way, that let's look for some other ways to do this, to the things than what Allah has commanded. We still have to stick with the way Allah has commanded us to do an action, no matter how easy it seems to us or how difficult it looks to us. We have to follow the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so a lot of time we see that this happens, that when we are doing the da'wah of Islam to the people, calling people towards the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the supremacy of the deen of Allah, the creator of the heaven and the earth. So people will worship Allah alone. And for that purpose, of course, to live by the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to establish the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the form of a state where we can implement the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we find that a lot of difficulties come in the way. And then we find a lot of time, some of the brothers, they think of it, we don't have to work for this cause because it is a difficult cause, or it causes difficulties for us, hence we should not work towards this cause. That should not be the way we should look at the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should be looking at the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this way, that whatever Allah has commanded, we have to submit with the fullest extent. Inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us the ones who stick with the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the best possible manner and carry the deen of Allah azza wa jal to the whole mankind. وأقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه